Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name's Chella and this is Chella Reads a Bit. As you can see, we're in a different location today because today's video is going to be a bit different. I'm going to attempt, and this is an attempt, to read a romance and give you my thoughts as I'm reading it. I did say in my February TBR that I wanted to try this with 3 different romances. Today I'm going to do one of those. And sorry for the bad lighting. My room is not well lit. There's no overhead light, so forgive me. But today I'm going to attempt to do a different formatted video, and hopefully this doesn't go all horrible, because if it does, oh, you will not see this will not see the light of day. But I'm going to be reading a romance and then coming in every so often with my thoughts, feelings, and how everything is going, because romance is not my first genre that I go to. And even if it's fantasy romance, I do like romance within a book, but I don't go towards that romance. It's like, it's a very big, the main thing of the book. It's not what I go for. So hopefully it doesn't go too bad, and hopefully I enjoy these books. But I figured first one, I'm gonna go, it's like one of the smaller ones, a little more, I don't want to say tame, but one of the first ones that I acquired. So the first one I'm going to be reading is Radiance by Grace Draven. I did get this a long time ago on the recommendation by Riley from Riley Marie. I know that I think my sister read this and she seemed to have liked it, and I know Riley really enjoyed this, so I ended up getting it long ago and never read it. But now it's the perfect time because, you know, February romance, and I figured it'll be a fun video, me just popping in every so often with my thoughts, because I'm not much of a romance reader and maybe I have something interesting to say. Who knows, maybe I don't. But again, this is an attempt. It's my first time, and all I know about this book is that it's about this girl is in this political engagement with this prince that she doesn't know anything about, and the prince is also in this political arrangement with this girl. He is not human, she is human. He, even on the back, talks about how she's ugly. And I think it's like them getting to know each other, and as time goes on, maybe love blossoms, who knows. But it's about them and, you know, being brought together by this thing that's out of their control. Like, they had their duty and everything, and relies on them being together. So it's going to be interesting seeing how this goes and giving my thoughts as I'm reading it, because I do not know what to expect. I know that people enjoyed this book. I've not heard anything bad about it, and I'm hoping to enjoy it too. So I'm going to take you along on this journey with me, and hopefully this attempt is successful, because if not, it's gonna be sad because I wasted my time. But you'll still hear about it in my wrap-up if it doesn't. So this is the first one I'm gonna be reading. I did want to just do like this quick sit down introducing it and everything. I probably will be on my bed a lot talking about it, but it's gonna be less of like this, or maybe it is, or I'm gonna hold the camera. It's gonna be very not as formal and sit downy maybe. Hopefully it goes well, and I hope you enjoy it. If you do, please like and subscribe. I would love to have you here. And let's just get into it. Okay, so I'm finally sitting down to start this book, and let's see how it goes. I did have to do a few things before I could start. I had to like finish not editing, I had to finish making thumbnails and scheduling videos, but now I can finally start it. And hopefully it won't be too bad. Let's see how it goes. So I'm not very far in. I'm only to chapter 4. And so far, it's not too bad. And this is going to be spoilery. This is going to be a spoilery video. But pretty much all that's happened so far is the whole her getting ready for the wedding and then wanting to go to the garden because that's like where she is very comfortable. And then she stumbles upon someone from, I think they're called Kai. And she, like, they get to talking because her husband to be is Kai. Like, this species is called the Kai. Obviously, it was apparent that it was going to be her fiance. Like, that's just apparent, pretty much. But obviously, she doesn't know that in the book. But he ends up knowing that it's her right at, like, when she leaves because she gives her name. And he knows that his fiance has that name, so he just put 2 and 2 together. But their interaction during that time, like, it was interesting for me personally. Like, I know nothing about romance and how it's supposed to work or what's normal and not. But for me, it just seemed like they hit off, like, really quick, which I guess is good, but I also think it's just, like, a little too quick. Like, you're telling me how different you guys are. Like, maybe it shows that, like, you have this perception in your mind because of how they're gonna look, and that you think that they're gonna act some sort of way, and that maybe, and then you realize that they aren't that way. But it just, for me, it just seemed a little disjointed, like, too quick and convenient. But I'm only 23 pages in, so who am I to talk yet? But I just think some of the things are very cliche, like the aunt being horrible and everything. But other than that, I can't say that I'm enjoying it, and I can't say I'm not enjoying it because I'm only 23 pages in. But, like, hopefully as the book progresses, I'll get more into it, and I don't feel connected yet. But again, not very far in, so obviously. So I'm going to continue reading and see how I feel as I get farther in, and I'll talk to you then. Don't mind the change in hair and everything. I just got a little more comfortable. So now I'm to chapter 10. And I still feel like a disconnect for me with these characters. I don't know. I feel like everything just moves too fast. And it feels like it takes me 5,000 years to, like, get very far in. Like, I'm literally only on page 73, and I feel like I've been reading for so long. Like, it's not bad per se, but, like, I just feel this disconnect between what is happening and how I feel. Like, the connection between how do you say her name? Dico? How do you say it? And Brescian? Don't know. Like, it just feels like really fast, and, like, I'm glad they found this thing between them. Like, even though right now it's friendship, but it just seems a little too quick. Like, everything is happening at a pace that I'm like, I don't know. Like, I mean, it's not long, so maybe that's why it's, like, only, I've already said, but it's, like, only 288 pages. But it just seems a little too fast for me personally. Like, I mean, it's not bad. Like, they have cute moments, but I'm like, you guys just met each other, and it just, I'm glad that they're seeing, like, this. Obviously, there's differences. Like, Brescian is not human, and she is, and, like, I appreciate the connection that they're having, even though they have this difference between them that like is very apparent, like their appearance is different, like their customs are different, and like I appreciate that, and like I think it's amazing that they're able to be so happy together with this whole difference. But it just seems really fast. It's a lot of, in my opinion, it just feels like a lot of telling me like you're trying to show it to me, but it's like really convenient, and I don't know, I don't want to say forced because it's not forced. The writing is just, something about it just is not catching me. Like sometimes there's like interesting ways that like I like a little lyrical, but then at other times it's just very simple. I want to say there's nothing inherently wrong with this book, and it's not, I don't want to say it's like the book, it's probably just me, but I'm not hating it, but I'm not really liking it so far. It just feels really slow. Like it's slow but fast. Like I think it's slow in the fact of things that are like getting to where he's from, which is Bast Herodis. But there already was an assassination attempt not far in, but then like the whole thing trying to get there, like they're finally where I am, getting to the city, and it seems like, I don't even know how to explain it. I'm just not feeling the connection itself. I'm not feeling, like, the pacing is a bit odd, very weird to me. I'm like hoping as I keep reading that I'll get more into it, but as of right now it's okay. I'm not really attached to the characters. I'm happy for them, but it's very quick. It just seems a little too convenient. Something about it just feels off to me. Like I'm hoping with time, like maybe I'll get more connected to these characters and really buy into like their connection that they're having. But as of right now, it just seems a little too rushed in the emotional connection aspect with the relationship, and not rushed and not really moving forward in the plot and action aspect. Again, I'm not much of an action person, but like, and I'm all for character development and like just seeing the characters, but I'm not connected to your characters, so it's kind of hard for me to like not be interested in, okay, maybe the plot. So I'm just hoping as I continue to read that I'll be more interested, and hopefully it doesn't take me too long to read. But as of right now, it's not the worst. I'm just not enjoying it as much as I would be liking. Again, I'm not that far. I'm only 73 pages in, chapter 10. It just feels like I've been reading for so long with this book. Like, I don't know, something about reading it, I'm just struggling a little bit. But hopefully with time it'll get better. And I'll come back when I'm a bit farther into the book. Maybe after I'm past 100 pages, because it feels like it's been forever. It feels like it's taking forever to get to 100 pages. Okay, I'll update you guys as soon as I get a bit farther, and then when I finish it. And hopefully I have better things to say. So it's been a few days since I've updated for this book because it was the weekend, my boyfriend was home, still too awkward to record in front of him, you know. Also didn't really have many thoughts and I haven't read it since then, but figure I'm in the middle of editing a different video right now. He is away right this second. I could update my feelings and thoughts on this book. So when I read last, I think to the halfway point now. I'm on chapter 16. And a lot of my thoughts still stand. I think that the relationship is moving too fast for what it is. I feel like there's too much trust to be right off the bat to begin with. Like I understand like they enjoy each other's company, but that's like from the jump, even with this like glaring difference between them and like how different each other is, and it's great to a point, but I just don't find it very believable for me. It just, and sorry if you hear the fan of the laptop, it's loud, but I didn't want to move. I don't want to say, okay, so it's cute to a point, but then I just am not about, I'm just not about it. I'm struggling to get through it, and there's like, I've had this one a few other times with books where it feels like something's happening, but once you get to a certain point, you're like, has anything actually been going on, or have I just been trying to think that there is, because, and it just feels like I'm taking forever to read it, and it's like nothing is really happening. Like there's an illusion of stuff happening, but it doesn't actually feel like anything is happening. And I'm struggling a little bit with this book, and I feel bad, but I'm not buying into their relationship right now. Again, it's still not like, they're not calling it romantic yet. And I'm tired. I get it, you both find each other's people ugly. I don't want to hear it every 2 fucking seconds. Like, I get it. It's like every 2 seconds they make sure you're reminded that they find each other ugly. But beyond that, they can see something more and deep and like great about each other. And it's like, that's great. But I was done hearing about this many a pages ago. And maybe that's fine for other people, but it just is grating on my nerves. I'm going to try to get through it. I have a lot of editing to get done. I just ramble way too much, guys. I don't know why. Well, I know why. I just ramble. So a video that shouldn't be almost an hour long is an hour long uncut. Only 16 minutes and 44 seconds into editing it into the video. Oh my god, it's a hassle. But yeah, this book, it's fine. It's fine. I'm not buying into it. I don't think it's that cute. I think it's too forceful in wanting you to believe that their dynamic is cute, and for other people that might be good, but for me, I'm not subscribing to this. But I'm going to continue and hopefully try to finish it. I'll read it after I'm done editing it, and hopefully finish it and update you. If there's anything that interesting happens and I have some thoughts, then I'll pop back in, but there's like nothing really going on. It's kind of boring. But those are my thoughts, and I'll see you in my next update. So we're back in the more formal sit-down setup because I finally finished Radiance by Grace Draven. So these are just gonna be my wrap-up thoughts about the whole book, the ending of the book, and anything in between. I started this book like days ago. Finally finished it last night. And I feel like I've kept the same thoughts throughout the whole book. The ending was fine. It was predictable, honestly. I saw what was gonna come from way back in the book. I can see why people might like it, but for me, I just couldn't get over how quick they were to be so caring and trustful of each other so fast. And as I predicted, they literally fell in love easily, like, and then they wondered why they ever thought each other was ugly. And it's like, so we went through this whole good portion of the book of you keep reminding me how ugly you think each other are, and then all of a sudden, poof, one day you're all like, you know what, you're not ugly to me anymore. And maybe that's fine. For me, I couldn't buy into it. It was too much too fast. The way they talk to each other just seems so convenient. It just seems so, I don't want to say stilted, because it was not technically stilted. It was more, their banter just seemed unauthentic to me. Like, it just seemed placed there for the sake of making them comfortable with each other from the jump and to be in this situation. The thing with the mom, Queen Sesame, was so apparent. It also felt like nothing really happened. Like, you have the beginning part where they're married and then they're on their way to Barishan's, the kingdom that he's from, and they get ambushed. That's pretty much the only, like, action-y kind of thing that happened for a good most of the book. And then the last few chapters was pretty much the same thing, just a little different. This time that they're in love and he gets kidnapped. He is tortured, and that's sad, and he does get his eye taken. And then, of course, Queen Sesame, like, comes over and she has his eye, and then, like, and then, like, the epilogue pissed me off. I'm like, this is so stupid. Like, I'm sorry, like, if you enjoy this, like, I think it was dumb. Like, it's so unnecessary, the whole thing with Queen Sesame. I just don't care for it. I can appreciate how they went from finding each other ugly and having this difference to being able to look past it. I just couldn't get past the way that it just felt disingenuous because of the way it just was so quick. I didn't buy into their chemistry. It just seemed written on page, pretty much. I didn't actually feel it. It didn't feel genuine. It's like, you're trying to show me that they're into each other this way, but I just feel like I'm being told it. And they always would call each other husband or wife, and I'm like, okay. Like, I can't really say the chick's name, so I guess that's great for them, but, like, the things is just, it was too much for me. It was just too convenient. Everything was just too convenient. Nothing happened for, like, I got to the middle of the book, nothing really had happened since that beginning part, which was, like, up here, and then the last bit was, like, here, and it was, I'm sorry, I just didn't care for it. I did put it into Compile, which is the rating system that I use, made by G from Book Roast. It came out at a 3, like a low 3 stars, which I was surprised by, but I guess it makes sense because I didn't hate it. It was fine. I just didn't buy into it like maybe a lot of other people did. And no disrespect to Grace Draven or anyone who enjoys it, it just was not for me. I didn't, like, I can see why people might find their love story really enjoyable, but I could not. I just couldn't get past, like, their first meeting. They immediately, like, kind of hit it off. And, like, even at the end, Ildiko, I don't know how to say it, Barishan's wife, she says that she fell in love with him when they got married, like, that day, which was the day that they met. Let me just point that out. That was the day that they fucking met. I'm like, so it was insta love. And he said it took you that long, and I'm like, so pretty much their first meeting is what he's implying. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't buy into it. And 3 stars, I mean, it's fine. I am happy to have read it, to get it, you know, to see what people were talking about, but it just wasn't for me, and I think that's fine. And of course, construction starts when I'm recording. It's okay, I'll wait. Not a peep for the longest time, and now they decide now is the time we're gonna start when I'm almost done. You done? You good? Okay, I'm gonna do this real fast. So 3 stars wasn't the worst, wasn't the best. I am hoping that the next ones might be a little better. I do still have From Blood and Ash by Jennifer L. Armentrout and Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon, I think her name is. So I will be trying to do videos like this for those 2 as well. I might not get to both of them, but I do plan on starting the next one here soon. So this one might not have gone the way that I wanted it, but I'm glad that I read it, and I'm glad I got to do this and, you know, dip my toe into updates like this and something that's different from the normal sit down video. But this just wasn't the book for me. Let's hope the next romance might be the one that tickles my fancy. But that's it for this video. If you like this video, please feel free to like and subscribe if you would like. I hope to make more kind of videos like this. It's going to be an attempt, that's for sure. And I will talk to you in my next video. Bye!